Hello everyone, welcome back all of you. In today's session we are going to have discussion on low pressure measurement, or also we call it as vacuum pressure measurement. And before we proceed further, let us recap little bit about what we actually discussed till now in the case of pressure measurement. So in the case of pressure measurement, as I told, we are going to have three types of measurement: high pressure measurement, low pressure measurement, and differential pressure measurement. And proceeding with that, in the high pressure measurement we had the understanding of Bourdon tube, diaphragm, bellows, and then we had discussion little bit about strain gauges. And also we made it clear that the reference is going to be normal atmospheric pressure rather than that of standard atmospheric pressure, which has value of 1 atm. So and after that we had discussion on differential pressure measurement, and in that case there is going to be no reference, and we are going to have just 2 points, P1 and P2, and we are going to measure the difference between them. So and also the technique we had discussion of U2 manometer, which we used in mechanical type of flow meters to calculate the pressure difference, so that we can have the calculation of flow measurement. And in today's session we are going to have discussion on low pressure measurement, and in that, as I mentioned, we have 5 gauges: Pirani, thermocouple, ionization, and Macleod and Knudsen gauge. But gauge point of view, we'll have discussion on Pirani gauge, thermocouple, and ionization gauge. And the reference, again, it is going to be the normal atmosphere outside. So let us begin with our first gauge, Pirani gauge. So the Pirani gauge, it is going to work based on the principle of thermal conductivity of the gas, and the principle is going to be something like this, that if the pressure of the gas is decreasing, the conductivity of gas is going to decrease. So I have drawn one Wheatstone bridge in one arm. First arm R1 is going to work as measuring or sensing arm. So let us write it here, measuring or sensing arm, and R4 is going to be the reference arm. So what we are doing, we have taken two volumes of gases, so inside which we have some molecules. So in the ideal condition, the number of molecules in the both the bulbs are equal, so due to that the pressures are going to be equal, and due to the equal pressure also we have the same temperature of the wires we have placed inside those volumes. So resistances are equal. And now what we are actually going to do, if we are decreasing the number of molecules inside the volume, so the number of molecules which were taking heat from the wire was a little more before, and then if we are increasing the decreasing the number of molecules, so the heat taken away from the resistance wire is going to decrease, because let us say if we have 100 molecules before and they are taking the heat from the wire, and in the second case if we have decreased the molecules from 100 to 90, so the heat taken by the wire is going to be decreased. So due to that the temperature of the wire is going to increase. So in the initial condition, when the number of molecules are equal, we have the equal resistance of both the measuring and reference bulbs. So due to that, R1 into R4 is going to be equal to R2 and R3. So we have the quarter bridge output as 0. So this is going to be known as calibration. And now if we wish to measure one particular pressure, so we are going to connect that particular source with the measuring arm of the Wheatstone bridge. So due to the vacuum pressure, because the pressure is little lower, right? So if the pressure is lower, so the number of molecules is going to go into that particular medium. So due to that the number of molecules in the resistance ones are going to decrease. So if the number of molecules N1 is going to decrease, so the heat transfer is going to decrease. So before, if this resistance wire was losing some heat, if number of molecules are decreased, it is going to dissipate the less amount of heat. So the temperature of wire is going to increase, because it has the more heat than that of before. So the temperature of wire is going to increase, and due to that the resistance one is going to increase. So now we can simply write it as R plus delta, and if we are assuming that the all resistances are equal in the beginning, so now we can write the quarter bridge output as voltage at point A minus voltage at point B. So voltage at point A, and also I has mentioned that the meter resistance has to be infinite, so then only we can take this current in this particular path as 0, and we can apply the voltage division rule. So writing the voltage at point A, it is going to be R divided by R plus delta R into Vs minus R divided by R plus R into Vs. This is nothing but simple quarter bridge, and the output expression we can calculate like R by 2R plus delta R minus 1 by 2. So this is Vs. Quarter bridge, it is going to be 2R minus delta R divided by 2 times of 2R plus delta R into Vs. So 2R and 2R gets cancelled, and this is going to come as minus delta R divided by 4R plus 2 delta R into Vs. As the changes in the resistance are going to be comparatively less, so we can assume it as 0. So this is going to come out as minus of delta R by 4R into Vs. So this we already know, right? The output of quarter bridge is going to be Vs by 4 into delta R by R, and the minus sign coming because of we have taken the convention like this. If we are taking the output voltage as VB minus VA, so automatically this will come as positive. So we always talk about magnitude as of now, so we'll say it as delta R by R into Vs by 4. So this is the basic principle of Pirani gauge. If we are decreasing the number of molecules inside the gas, means we are connecting this particular sensing arm to our vacuum pressure. So due to that, it is going to suck the molecules from the gas. So due to that, the temperature of the wire inside the bulb is going to increase, and it will increase the resistance. And if we have the changes in the resistance, with the help of Wheatstone configuration, we can calculate the output voltage. So this is going to be the main idea. And now we'll have the discussion about the ionization gauge and thermocouple gauge. And now in the case of thermocouple gauge also, the idea is going to be somewhat similar to that of Pirani gauge only, and the only difference which we are going to encounter here is that in the previous case, by varying the number of molecules inside the volume, we were feeling the changes in the resistance. But here in this case, instead of feeling the changes in the resistance, we are going to feel the changes in the temperature. So idea is somewhat similar only. So now what we are doing, this particular bulb, we are going to attach it to one source of vacuum, and due to the pressure in the inside the vacuum is going to be lower than that of pressure inside the bulb, so it is going to take the molecules away from the bulb. So due to that, what is going to happen, the number of molecules inside the bulb is going to happen, and due to that, pressure will decrease. And if the number of molecules are going to decrease, the heat transfer which was taking place previously is going to decrease. Why so? Let us say if this particular wire is surrounded by the 100 molecules, so the number of molecules taking heat away from this is more. And in the second case, if the number of molecules are decreased, and if they are 90, so the number of molecules which are taking heat are going to be little less. So heat dissipation is less, means the wire itself has the remaining heat, so the its own temperature is going to increase, right? So due to that, the temperature of wire is going to increase. So in the previous case, what we were doing, if the temperature of wire is increased, we were going little one step further, that resistance of wire is increased. But now we are not measuring the resistance of wire. Instead of that, we are just simply going to measure the temperature itself with the help of thermocouple. So what thermocouple says, the EMF output voltage is given as sensitivity time into temperature high, temperature hot minus temperature cold. So now in this case, the temperature of wire is going to increase. So due to that, the EMF voltage output is going to increase, because this particular TC is the reference point, so it has one constant value. So if the temperature of hot junction is increasing, so the EMF output voltage is going to increase. So EMF is going to be proportional to 1 by P, because on decreasing the pressure, the temperature is increasing, and the temperature is increasing means EMF is increasing. So overall confusion is that if you decrease the pressure inside the volume, we are going to get the higher voltage output. So more the vacuum outside, more the output voltage we are going to get. So the dial of the voltmeter we can calibrate in terms of pressure. Let us say if we have 1 volt here and we have 5 volt here. So 1 volt means we have some pressure, let us say 1 atm, and 5 volt means the pressure is going to decrease, then only we are going to get the higher voltage. So this we can calibrate as let us say 0.5 atm. So more the vacuum, more the going to be the voltage output of the thermocouple gauge. So this is the basic idea about thermocouple gauge, and now let us have the look of ionization gauge as well. And now in the case of ionization gauge, the idea is going to be somewhat different. So in this case, what is happening, we have one tube. Inside that we have some molecules of gases at one particular reference pressure, call it as P reference, and it has two like terminals. One is going to be cathode and another one is going to be anode, and the voltage difference is provided in terms of kilovolt. So due to that, the flow of current is going to take place, and at the cathode it is going to emit the electrons out of it. So what is actually going to happen, whenever this electron coming out of cathode collides with any of the molecules of the gas, something like this. So this particular electron coming from the cathode is going to knock another electron which is wounded with the gas, is going to be taken away. So it is going to be two electron outside once if it is colliding with the one molecule of gas. So due to that, the gas molecule is going to get ionized. So that's the main principle which we are going to make use of. So initially we are saying that the pressure is P reference and we have the n number of molecules. So the ionization is taking place and we have some ionization current. And in the second case, if we are saying that this particular instrument we have connected to vacuum, so the number of molecules inside are going to decrease. So I am rubbing little molecules, so we have the less number of molecules now. So due to that, the less ionization is going to take place because everything else is same, only the number of molecules are decreased. So in that case, the ionization is going to be little less than that of previous one. So due to that, the ionization current is going to decrease. So that's what the main concept. If we have more number of molecules, the high amount of ionization is going to take place, and if the number of molecules are going to decrease due to attachment to the vacuum, so due to that, the low ionization is going to take place. So due to that, we are going to get the less ionization current. And also let us discuss what is the merit. So the merit of this particular idea is it is going to perform little better than that of Pirani thermocouple gauge. But as we are talking about the ionization here, we have one demerit also, that the voltage we have to provide in terms of kilovolt. So due to that, it is going to become a little costly. And the reason behind providing the kilovolt, because these electron coming out of the cathode, once they are colliding with the gas molecules, they are generating two electron, but those electron has to travel till the anode, then only they will be able to contribute in the ionization current. So to make them travel from here to here, we should provide the strong electric field inside the tube, because if the electric field is this side, and this is going to give the force on the electron in the opposite direction, because on the negative charges the electric field applies force in the reverse direction. Or also in the another way, if I would try to explain it, that if this particular molecule is not collided yet, it has some potential energy which is given as electron into volt. So this is going to be the volt, and once if it is going to collide with the electron, it is going to gain the kinetic energy, because now the electron is outside, so it is going to travel with some velocity. So that is the kinetic energy is written as half mv square, and due to that, if we try to calculate velocity, it is going to come as proportional to the voltage. So if we have the higher velocity of the molecule coming out, then only it will be possible for that molecule to travel up to the anode. So to get the higher velocity of the molecule, we have to apply the higher voltage. So either way, if you try to understand in terms of electric field, that if we have high strength electric field, then only the molecules will be able to travel, or in this concept, that potential energy is converting into kinetic energy. So to have the more velocity of the particle, we should have the we should apply the higher voltage value. So that's the main concept behind the ionization gauge. So we have covered all three gauges which we are making use in the measurement of vacuum. So if you have any doubt, you are free to ask in the comment section. Thank you.